Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee on this Wednesday night, May 23rd, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Fios One News Long Island and Fios One News New Jersey here. Joe Rayo holds the fort at Fios One News Hudson Valley, and he will be in momentarily as he's taking care of a few things. And we are headed toward a holiday weekend. And by the way, this could be the third time in 6 years that we will have a tropical storm in play during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. I was kind of racking my brains out, and one of our regulars, Anthony Orr, who doesn't always make these live streams, but he makes my YouTube live stream, which aired at 6 o'clock tonight, pointed out that we've had two tropical storms, 2012 Tropical Storm Beryl and 2016, which was Tropical Storm Bonnie, both at the end of May, both around the Memorial Day holiday weekend, and both of them went into the southeast coast of the United States. There has only been one Gulf of Mexico hurricane in May, and I think Joe's got the date on that. It goes back to 1863, all right? Not that this one, we're forecasting it to become a hurricane, just mentioning the fact that it is rare. Indeed, there have only been four hurricanes in total in the month of May since 1851, and I believe 24 tropical storms in total. So it's not unheard of. It is unusual. And we're going to start tonight with the latest satellite photograph, which you can see here over to my left. Right? No, that way. Okay, so it's over to my left. And I'm going to bring it up in the paint box here so you can see it a bit better, and I'll scroll it down into the northwestern Caribbean. The Hurricane Center has come out with their 8 o'clock update, and they don't usually put out tropical weather outlooks during the month of May, but we've had it happen a few times this month with systems appearing and disappearing, and when warranted they do, and they have been doing it for this. They have been slowly raising the probability of development into a tropical cyclone from 40% to 50% to 60%. And now we are at a 70% probability of this becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm over the next 5 days. But it'll be mainly during the Friday to Sunday time frame, and maybe more along the lines of late Friday night into Saturday night, and early Sunday. This is the area, I've got it in the red circle here, that has become better defined during this afternoon. There's been a blow up of showers and thunderstorms as we have moved through the afternoon hours. So I guess the trick now is to see whether these storms hold on during the overnight, or was this some kind of diurnal thing where they flare up in the daytime into the evening and then they fall apart after that. So that'll be a test during the overnight period to see whether these things hold together. And we're thinking that this is a low that is sitting in the just off the Yucatan Peninsula, off the coastline. One of the reasons why the system really isn't developing now, and the other is the winds aloft are still a bit hostile. But this thing is going to find its way up northwestward and eventually emerge out into the Gulf of Mexico Friday night and on Saturday. And most of the models are moving it northward. The European, the NAM model, have a track up basically along or just east of 90 degrees west, so they basically take it straight north. The GFS is on the eastern end of this envelope, and it wants to take this a little bit more to the northeast and more toward the Florida coast. The Canadian likes to split it right down the middle, and actually has the most developed system of the three. They're not overly far apart, but I tend to think, judging from what I'm seeing in the upper atmosphere, I'm kind of favoring more the left side or the more western type of tracks rather than the one that's the most east, just based on what I'm seeing in the upper atmosphere. And we are seeing a very interesting scenario in the upper atmosphere. So I'm going to bring that up. Joe should be in here momentarily, I would think. But this is the problem, is that you have this big upper low that is going to be developing a trough that is going to be in the Gulf states and extending southward through the Gulf of Mexico into the Northwest Caribbean, or just west of the Northwest Caribbean. And the problem is that you've got an upper high, and I'm going to just kind of outline the western edge of that upper high off the East Coast, that Bermuda-ish high. And on the other side of that, you've got a ridge and an upper high that's down in Mexico, and that ridge has this finger that you can see it here, just kind of comes up into Kansas and Oklahoma. To the north and west of that, where we are, we've got this northwest flow in the upper atmosphere that's a bit busier. Weather systems are moving along, and the southern edge of that is just about into northern Virginia. So the problem is that this system is kind of trapped right in between all of this, in between the two ridges, and it can't really go anywhere until something breaks down. Either the upper high to the east or the upper high to the west has to break down in order for this thing to move. So this becomes a problem, and it becomes a big problem for the Gulf states, because that is going to probably mean a large area of heavy rains, depending on where this thing tracks. I don't think that the strength of the system is really that important. Maybe it becomes a tropical storm. Maybe it only gets to tropical depression and remains a rather broad low-pressure center. But I still think the bottom line is that you are going to see some big rains from, say, eastern Louisiana eastward to Georgia, and at least up into the Florida Panhandle. We might be protected from this for a little while with that those westerly winds that are going to be blowing in the upper atmosphere from northern Virginia northward. But we have our own complications as far as the weekend is concerned. Here's our Joe Rayo, who just walked in. So, Joe, you might want to chime in on this. You know, I'm just illustrating how, you know, this thing is going to wind up getting trapped in between the two ridges on either side, and that's going to have big implications for some torrential rains probably for the eastern and central Gulf states.
It's almost like it's going to get locked in the channel, and all of that moisture, that tropical moisture, is going to have to flow northward. And again, the debate here is just how much of a flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere over our neck of the woods will help to either shunt some of that moisture to our south, or maybe if there is not much of a northwest or west flow,
right,
that may carry into Sunday and Monday for us in terms of clouds and scattered showers.
Well, this is Sunday morning, and you know, I'm going to jump now to Tuesday, because on Tuesday this thing is still trapped down in the Gulf, and we have actually a northwest flow here. You know, the ridges are starting to break down a little bit on either side, but we've got a flow that's coming down from the let me get the brush out. But we've got a flow that's basically coming down out of the northwest.
Now that's the European.
That's the European.
Yeah.
The GFS is further east, and probably makes for an argument for this to the moisture from this to come up a little further north. But I think even the GFS kind of wanted to shunt a lot of that to the south. We're going to have issues anyway, because we've got a front coming by, and it's going to stall to our south. We're going to have an onshore flow, maybe a little bit of wave action on it, regardless of what happens with this tropical thing.
And if that front does indeed come through during Sunday into Monday, the onshore flow may preclude tropical moisture, much tropical moisture, even convective precipitation. But what we may end up with is that long-term kind of spotty, misty, drizzly, dribbly type of precipitation, along with cool onshore winds, keeping temperatures, well, by Saturday we may be well up in the 80s to near 90, and we may drop abruptly back to the 70s. Dare I say even maybe the
60s, maybe by Monday. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Let me. I want everybody to see you. There you go.
Here I am.
So here I got the loop up, by the way, of the system to the south. You know, more thunderstorms have developed this afternoon into this evening. The Hurricane Center acknowledges that. I mentioned that they raised the probability now to 70% of developing into a tropical cyclone. By the way, this would be there. We've had this will be the third tropical cyclone in the last 7 years in the month of May. 2012 was Beryl.
Andrea? Or
No, Beryl.
Beryl.
And 2016 was Bonnie. Hopefully, I don't have that backward. I can double check that. I lost Anthony. My buddy Anthony gave it to me, and I may have just reversed it. So, but the bottom line is 2012 and 2016 are the 2 years. We've had these. The storms in May. Memorial playing in Memorial Day weekend. By the way, both those years it was a Memorial Day weekend system. Both those systems wound up going into the southeast coast of the U.S.
Yeah.
To go figure. The Gulf systems are very rare in May. There've only been a handful of them, and only 4 hurricanes since 1851 for the whole Atlantic Basin in the month of May.
On Weather Trends 360, which is an excellent site, and if you have a chance, go and check it out. Weather Trends 360, they point out that the last time there was a significant hurricane, tropical cyclone of hurricane magnitude, that made landfall in the southeastern United States was way back in 1863. So they don't come very often indeed. And if this were one of those rare scenarios, it's been the first time in almost like 150 years.
Right, and that's rare indeed.
Yes.
All right, so let's bring up. Let's talk about our weather here. We have no issues tomorrow. Great weather. Great weather for Friday. Saturday, I think most, if not all, of the day should be fine. I don't think you'll give me an argument with that.
It's going to verge on what we could call humid. I heard some forecasts. There's nothing I can do when you're in the car with the wife and she's driving around and she has the radio on and you hear, here's the forecast for the upcoming holiday weekend.
Sunny today, high mid-80s.
Yeah.
Clear tonight, low mid-60s.
And I heard one forecast that said like Friday it'll be warmer and much more humid, and I disagreed. I disagreed.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
It's certainly going to be warmer, decidedly warmer, but humidity. I mean, the dew point temperature is going to be in the 50s, which is still
that's
very
not humid.
comfortable.
That's ridiculous.
But the thing is, you actually will feel the humidity on Friday because you're making comparisons tomorrow. Tomorrow, dew points are supposed to be right around 40, and when you have a what we call a dew point depression, when temperatures are like near 80 and a dew point of 40, and we're talking about Arizona now.
Yeah, that's bone dry.
This is bone dry. And tomorrow, as I said on my FiOS forecast for at least the lower Hudson Valley, I actually put this on one of the forecast pages. I said they don't come any better than what we're going to see tomorrow.
Yeah, should
really
be almost should be cloudless.
This is perfect for any time of the year, and I think what's going to make it perfect is that very, very low dew point and that very low humidity.
Right.
Not to say anything bad about Friday, but Friday will be warmer and it will be a bit. The dew points will
Technically,
be
it'll be more humid, but it really won't
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
finally we'll get your humid,
a little more. Yeah, Saturday will be a little more uncomfortable.
sultry day on Saturday.
The highs coming down from Canada this time of year are not that cool. The sun heats up that air during the daytime. Those days are long up there, and it gets fairly warm. So you get a high that comes down. The air is warm, and it's also dry. I mean, it's bone dry. So that's where this is coming from. And this is as we go into Friday. The high goes offshore. We've got a west wind. And then on Saturday, you start to see that system in the Caribbean move into the Gulf of Mexico. The NAM has a signature like this is, like it looks like a tropical system of some kind when you look at how it has the radar presentation. And you'll notice by Saturday evening, we've got some spot showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms could be in the mix there as a weather front starts to back southward. And that's going to be our problem for Sunday and Monday. That front is going to be just to our south. We're going to have this high up in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, that's going to build back down. So you're going to have this onshore flow, and I think that's going to mean maybe for some on and off showers. I don't think it's going to be a washout
No.
by any means. But if you got to do something outdoors and you want to, Saturday's your day.
Yes.
And Sunday and Monday, it's going to be not quite so nice. A lot of clouds around, like you said. Maybe at the coast there might even be some drizzle that'll come in. But I don't think the weekend's going to be a washout. Then, of course, you have to wonder, is this, the GFS keeps wanting to bring this tropical system much further east than the other models, so it takes a lot of this moisture into the southeast and even up into the mid-Atlantic states, but it does push it out.
Curve it out
Right.
before the worst of it gets here.
Correct. The European, though, and the NAM would suggest that that it's going to be like the European down the road. The NAM, the European, brings it up to just southeast of New Orleans offshore, and then just kind of leaves it there. It takes 3 days for it to move inland. If this is right, this is going to be really bad in terms of rainfall across the central and eastern Gulf states. They're going to get socked with, many inches of rain in some places.
And it's one of those situations where some years it's bone dry in the southeast, and you see like places like Florida is in a drought. But if this materializes, that's certainly not going to be the case this year. This year it's going to be the other extreme, where there's just going to be too much rainfall in a short interval of time.
Frank La Salandra wants to know, why do we have a drought restriction of water in Stamford, Connecticut?
What was that?
What I didn't hear this. I can't imagine it would be. Are you sure it's not because of maybe a water main break? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have not heard that. Kenny Berthelot is on. I worked with Kenny Berthelot back in New Orleans in the mid-1980s.
Wow.
Good to see you, Kenny. I heard from Bob Breck the other day, by the way, who I also worked with in New Orleans. He was my boss. And he's doing well. So it's good to see both of you on here. Boy, that is a treat. We're getting all these famous people that have been coming on. Cynthia Guignard, it's good to see you. I know it's the GFS. I know it's one model run, but have you seen the second tropical system for the southeast on the latest run for early June? I haven't looked that far, Cynthia. Not yet. Not yet. One at a time, okay? No, she's nice, though. We're nice to Cynthia. She's
all right.
Okay. And same Frank La Salandra is going to Milan, Italy on Monday next week, and then you're going to hit Venice and Lake Como. Okay. I'm going to do this real quick for you, Frank, off camera. So just hang in there for 1 second. And you gotta love technology sometimes. This is where I should have you read like a commercial or something, but we're not sponsored yet.
Yeah.
Hang on. He wants to know about Italy. So I'm just going to give you like a quick cursory guess here as far as Europe is concerned for next week. Come on.
Looks fairly dry.
Yeah, fairly dry. Looks like some pop-up afternoon showers that show up every other day. But I don't see any big storm systems for you. Looks like they're going into summer mode there, from what I can see. But you know what? We'll talk about this some more over the coming days, and we'll give it a better look. Veronica Dorman-Bazanka is on. Say hi to meteorologist Phil Buzz, the all-shore correspondent. Maria Albanese Chase wants to know, how's it going to be Saturday night for the Yankee game? I'll give that to you since you're not a Yankee fan.
I think the games... They're playing Yankee games now at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and if it's a quick game, well, they're in the American League. They don't play quick games in the American League. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. I'd say like after midnight or up until midnight, it should be dry, and then we'll have to worry about maybe some late night shower and scattered thunderstorm activity creeping up from that tropical moisture. And then again, we've got that other front coming down from the north, so. We should be able to squeeze out at least the first part of the evening with.
I would think so. Mike Panici's on. He says hi to you. He's my good buddy, and he's been teaching me how to fish.
Bassmaster 1.
Well, he's referring to me because I just caught 5 smallmouth bass on Sunday, and I actually even held them right when taking the picture. He's very particular about making sure I get the picture-taking technique correct.
Yes.
So I live in fear when I send my fishing pictures to Mike because I want his approval. And the poor guy can't fish because he had some foot surgery, but we're bringing it's healing, and pretty soon we're going to have him out there. Will Charleston, South Carolina, be included with the heavy rain? Ed Bus, if it takes a track further to the west, I think that you'll probably not get into the heavy rain, but there may be some showers and thunderstorms around in the southeast all weekend and into next week, regardless of whether this system becomes tropical or not. You would agree with that?
I would agree with that.
All right,
yes.
so we're good. All right, so look, let's call it a night at this point, and everybody's getting, if you were smart enough to pad your holiday weekend by taking tomorrow and Friday off, you did a smart thing, right?
Gorgeous, gorgeous next 3 days. The only thing is, it's unfortunate. Now, today was Wednesday. It should have been Friday.
I know, because then we would have had the next 3 would have been great. Well, it doesn't
perfect.
always work that way.
But, at least we have Saturday to hang our hat on. And Getaway Friday, a lot of people will be on the roads going to wherever they're going, and that should be a great day as well.
Right.
So.
All right, top of the hour, Fios 1 News Long Island and Fios 1 News New Jersey for me.
And Fios 1 News for the Lower Hudson Valley for yours truly. I was a little late tonight because we are running, what are we running? We're running a high school soccer game on our Hudson Valley channel. So we did our
pre-production stuff a little later than usual.
Which is
but everybody knows the routine. They wait for the door slam and they know that John Wayne has walked in the room. All right, folks, have a great evening. YouTube live stream for me tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern time on my YouTube channel. Brian Fitzgerald and Jeff Banson in the morning. And we've got Addison Green and Brittany Borer, whose birthday today it was. Happy birthday to her. And then Joe and I will be back tomorrow night for the Joe and Joe show at 9:15
It was her birthday
Eastern.
today. I thought it was on Friday. Oh, she had the party.
Well, she had 3. Well, yeah, it was all. It was
scattered and everything else.
She wound up having 3 birthdays. All right, and Addison Green was on earlier. We didn't acknowledge Addison that he was up, but it's already past his bedtime, so he may have gone to sleep. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.